Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization, and I have a cool technique for you to try in the gym. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. That didn't roll off the tongue. In any case, it is Myorep match sets. Some of you may have heard of them. Please help in the comments to describe to people who have questions then. Some have not. What are they? So we're familiar with Myoreps, and Myoreps invented by Berge Fagrelli. I think I said that mostly okay. He's from Norway. He's got a funny Norwegian name. It's a form of rest pause training where you do a set of 10 to 20 repetitions, pretty close to failure. You rest for, 3 to 5 seconds or something like that, sometimes even 5 to 10, and then you continue doing a few more little mini sets called Myorep sets, where you get just 5 to 10 reps and then another 5 to 10 reps, then another 5 to 10 reps. You can do one more of these sets or 2 or 3, even 4 of them. What they do is, because you come close to failure on the first set, you can start the next set in a pre-fatigued state and get more failure approaches without having to do as many what are called lead-in reps. And this is a pretty good way of training in many instances and something I use a bunch. But here's a limitation of Myorep sets. Typically, what's going to happen is you're going to do one of these, where you do 10 to 20 sets, and then another set of 8, another set of 6, another set of 5, and then you're done with little mini breaks in between. And then that's what you do for the exercise. And that's totally cool, but you may need more volume, more stimulus, because some muscles, particularly ones that are smaller and thus need to be bigger and are very fatigue resistant and hypertrophy resistant, they just don't grow much. Just a few Myorep sets or 4 sets of 10 or 12 is just not driving enough disruption and enough growth. If that's the case, you can pull a rabbit out of a hat and do Myorep match sets, and here's what they look like. You do one set straight, normal straight set. Let's say it's going to be something usually like 10 to 20 reps. Whatever reps away from failure you are in your hypertrophy training app, your RP hypertrophy app that week, 3 or 2 or 1 reps in reserve, whatever it is, you just stop there. So let's say it's the first week, it's your 2 or 3 reps in reserve. You stop and you get 18 reps. Set 1, write down 18 reps right into your little tracker there, right into how many reps you got. You rest a normal amount of time, 2 or 3 minutes, whatever, check the 4-factor rest time box. And then you do the next set and you pre-type in advance into your RP hypertrophy app, 18. You're going to get 18 reps. You say, hold on, Dr. Mike, are you nuts? What if I'm too fatigued to get 18 all in one stretch? What if I get 15 and then I'm at failure, or I hit 2 reps in reserve for sure and I'm I should stop. You should stop. Stop, hit your 15 or whatever you can. Stop, rest 3 to 5 seconds. It's a Myorep set now. And then finish the set with as many reps as it takes to finish the set. So if you got 15, rest a few seconds and then crank out the last 3. First set was 18 straight. The next set is 18. If you can get there with a straight set and get your failure proximity, cool. If not, you'll need a Myorep break. The next set and the next set and the next set, however many Myorep match sets you want to do, you're going to be using Myoreps in every set, as many breaks as needed, and thus as many mini Myorep sets as needed in each set to match the first rep number you hit in the first set. So if 18 is the number you hit in the first set, the second set, 18 reps. The third set, 18 reps. And if you do a 4th or 5th set, it's 18 and 18, which means as you do more sets and you get more tired, each set's first mini set goes from 15 to 13 to 10 to 9. And then the number of mini sets you have to do after to get to 18 or whatever your goal is for the first set that was established, then the more of those sets you have to do and the more failure proximity you get. So as you do more and more work sets, the number of times you come closer to failure increases as you do more and more work sets. that means that the stimulus that you're driving in becomes incredibly high very fast. Volume is a big deal. Just doing 3 sets of 18 is going to give you a whole lot of repetitions, and that's a really good thing. What is that like? 54 or something like that? Yeah, 54 total reps. Doing 54 total reps in any other capacity is going to give you almost the same stimulus, but not quite. Because if you did 3 sets of 18 and rested so much between all the sets that you went fresh each time and you got 18, or if you did, let's say, 5 sets of 10 and then a set of 4, that means you got 6 failure approaches. Or in the first one, when you did 18, you got 3 approaches to failure. And approaching failure, getting to that last few reps before failure, above and beyond the stimulus you get from just doing all those reps, the volume, you get an extra bit of stimulus just from getting closer to failure. There's something more hypertrophic about that. In a Myorep match set, in the first set, you get 1 approach to failure. Still seems like the same as any other normal set. In the second set, you may get another 2 approaches to failure. Not just 1, 2, so you're already ahead. In the third set, you may get 3 approaches to failure, and in the fourth set, you may get 3 or 4 approaches. That's like more than 10 approaches to failure, whereas in the other conditions, it was either 3 approaches to failure if you did 18. If you did 5 by 10 and then a 4, that's only 6 approaches to failure. The total volume between all 3 conditions is the same. But in the Myorep match condition, you make the relative effort harder because you are driving close to failure all the damn time, especially in the later sets. This method of training allows you to, first of all, need a little bit less time to do all the stuff because you don't have as many sets to rest between. Many of them are Myorep sets. But also it takes about as difficult of training as you possibly can do and squeezes it into as few sets as you can do, short of just doing everything as a Myorep set, which can get insanely exhausting. And here is another thing. In a Myorep set, if you just do every set Myorep set, so the first set you do 18 and then 4 and then 3. The second set you do another set of 3 Myorep sets, 16 and 5 and then 3. The goal is just to do Myoreps, and that can get really overwhelming psychologically because you have to keep trying. There's kind of no end in sight. Like just try your hardest, go to 2 RIR. You're like, oh my God, like it's really easy to slack off as you get more fatigued. But in a Myorep match set, your first set is the only one you really have to psychologically try in a sense. Because the second set, you already know how many reps total you're going to need. So all you need to do is push as close as you can to get that number, and then you get a little few seconds to rest, and you go again. And if you need 2 approaches to failure, or you need 3 approaches to failure, it kind of doesn't matter. It takes the pressure off in a big way. In a certain sense, the use of Myorep match sets is kind of like every set after the first is a little bit of a combination of Myorep set and a giant set. It's just a total rep number you have to hit, and you can only rest a few seconds between many attempts as you go. This is a big deal. It is totally pointless to do this for muscles that are very big, very strong, generate a lot of systemic fatigue, and require a huge cardiovascular component like with squats and bent rows. You will gas the fuck out way before you need that much stimulus. If you do this to hamstrings on stiff-legged deadlifts, you're going to do 3 sets and you'll never walk again. It's overkill for most applications. It's just way too much volume and way too much relative effort, way too many failure approaches. But with muscles like the side delts, sometimes calves for some people, especially you small calf motherfuckers, rear delts, because who can overtrain those? Biceps for some people, forearm curls for some people, and even isolation exercises like tricep pushdowns, leg extensions, sometimes leg curls. When you need to cram a crap load of stimulus in and you don't want to take forever to do it, Myorep match sets are a great way to go, and they also have another bonus. That first set is a true straight set, which means you can use it to peg your performance to compare from session to session, week to week, and know if you've hit your maximum recoverable volume or not. Because there's a problem if you just do only Myorep sets. Last week, you got 27 total reps on your first set, and it took you 3 failure approaches. This week you got 28 total reps, but it took you 4 failure approaches. Are you weaker or stronger? It's really hard to tell. You could be tanking and you could be overreached already. It's time to deload, but you're like, oh, I'm going to still always do more Myorep sets. And if you're not counting them very formally, which doesn't make the Myorep sets really anymore, you're not constraining yourself to certain rep numbers, you're all over the map. But in a Myorep match set, that first set acts as your anchor in 2 ways. 1, it tells you how many reps you're going to have to make for all the other sets total. And 2, it's really the set that purely measures your objective performance. So if this week you got 100 pounds for 18 reps and next week you got 105 pounds for 18 or 19 reps, hey, you're not underperforming. You're good to go. Feel free to overload another week or another session. But if in another week that first set is 110 pounds, but now you did 14 reps and you went to failure, like, okay, I'm underperforming. Now, funny enough, there's a lot of mental math you can do where you don't know. You're sort of similar, but the weight is up, but the reps are down. Does that balance out? Here's a really cool thing. The RPI Hypertrophy app, link in description, by the way. I need Lambos. It actually does that math for you totally internally using an algorithm we call the Rep Points algorithm, and it's top secret. But basically, it can tell you whether or not you over or underperformed. And it'll flag you as like, yeah, you're not doing so well. So maybe take a recovery week or even just a recovery session. So that rep point system will identify when you're off track, and it can do that really, really objectively if you do Myorep match versus just regular Myoreps, because there's fewer degrees of freedom. Look, if you can't nut up and do that first set and hit a little mini PR, you're done. It's time to deload, or at least time to think about it. Myorep match sets have huge advantages. The only thing I'll say is this. They are really, really a huge amount of stimulus. And unless the muscle can take it, and unless the systemic fatigue is relatively low, I would not recommend to just go and do these because you could get really carried away. Here's an example. If you go and do leg presses, and you normally do 3 or 4 sets of leg press, couple sets of squats, and your quads are cooked, if you do 4 sets of Myorep match leg presses, you can get up to getting like 80 reps on the leg press really fast. I did that once, not so long ago, and I was getting a tour of a strength training facility, actually the University of Michigan strength training facility, and there's this big ramp they have there where the athletes do like ramp work, like run up and down the thing, and I could like barely walk up the ramp, and I was like, uh-oh, I did a bad thing. And then I was sore for like 7 days. For sure overkill, for sure too much damage, not enough growth, not great news. So use this wisely, and over the course of a mesocycle, you can add in another Myorep match set. But remember this, adding another Myorep match set means, especially if you go from like 2 to 3 sets or 3 to 4, you're not adding 1 set in the traditional way. You are adding a set of another 3 or 4 approaches to failure within it. That's in a certain sense like adding another 2 or 3 sets. So sometimes what I like to do, and this is real bonus points, advanced level stuff, if I have hamstring curls and I do a set of 18 and then a set of Myorep match 18, and I get pretty sore and heal just on time, next week I might do 18 and then like 10 or 12. And that last set is not a Myorep match set. It's just a regular straight set. And I've been asked this question before because I post my training on social media. By the way, Dr. Mike Israel on Instagram, if you want to follow me, I post a bunch of my actual day-to-day training. A few people were like, why is it a Myorep match? Did you forget to do the other 6 repetitions there? Why is that to 12 and not an 18? And my answer is, bro, if I do another 2 failure approaches, which is what it would take me to get to 18 from 12 at that rate, I would just never recover. My hamstrings would be super sore the next time I try to train them half a week later, and that would be bad news. So something you can do is maybe ease in half a Myorep match set at a time, if that's the case. But if you have a really hypertrophy resistant muscle that can take a lot of volume, like side delts or something, start with 2 Myorep match sets, like 1 straight set, and then a Myorep match set, just 2 sets. And the next week, if your delts seem fine, add a 3rd one. And the next week, add a 4th one. And cramming a crap load of volume in actually a pretty short time, it turns out, and in a way that you can psychologically really compartmentalize and be like, I'm locking it in, 18 reps, come hell or high water, and if I need a little rest break, I can take a rest break and just finish them. It works super well. I've been using him a ton in my training. Trevor Fulbright, the manager of our Team Full ROM group, has been using them a ton. Jared uses them a ton. It works. It super, super, super works. It's really effective. And for a lot of muscle groups, I came from the perspective of like my arms, my biceps, which I've seen a ton of growth in lately, actually. using the RP Hypertrophy app, if I may say. But for real, I saw a ton of growth, in part because I figured out how to put my muscles at long muscle lengths. So now I do a lot of curls from behind the back and stuff, and not a whole lot of curling up here, but in part because I stopped thinking of just straight sets only. Because like if I wasn't getting a pump or very much stimulus from 5 sets of biceps, like, real talk, like bodybuilding's the shit and all, fuck that. I'm not in the gym doing 7 sets of fucking curls. What? And then stand around for 2 minutes and not have a pump. My elbows hurt. Why am I doing this? It can be brutal. But 4 Myorep match sets, each one getting me to 15 or 20 curls, unreal pump. Soreness in my biceps for the first time in years, and mega gains. Because it can take a crap load of work, condense the living crap out of it, organize it for you, allow you to progress with it. It's amazing. And if you're using the RP Hypertrophy app, what you do is you type in, you just pick your exercise, let's say cable bicep curls, and then you pin a note to it, and you type in the note, Myorep match. And 18, 18, 18. Check, check, check. The next week you come in, it'll say cable curl, and it'll be like, it wants you to do 19 reps all across the board with, the same weight or something, or an increase in weight on the same 18 reps. And then you see the note says Myorep match. You're like, okay, that's why it was straight. I forgot. That's why it looks like straight sets, but it's really Myorep match. And you don't need to count the number of match sets. That's the best part about Myorep match. With Myorep, you need to write down how many Myorep breaks you have, potentially can be helpful. But because, you need to know how much overload to present. But with Myoreps, all you need to do is write that first rep number down. And then 18 is the first rep number for first set. And then it's 18, 18, 18. You don't need to write 12, 3, whatever. You don't have to do that because we all know it's as many as it takes all the way to get. And you can say, hey, listen, don't you want to write them down because you want to match performance? No, because the first set anchors performance. And if you underperform on the first set, you're fucked. And if you perform well in the first set, doesn't matter how the other sets go, your body is ready. And I've only said your body is ready to 3 other people, and they all ran. That's how they do. The people that I try to be friends with. Humans never understand me and my immortality. Can you relate? Maybe. If you can, tell me in the comments. If you can't, tell me in the comments. If you want more nerdy videos, we have a whole section with a ton of extra goodies for just a little bit of your hard-earned money in the members area. Team Full Round Forum, Google it, join it. And other than that, RP Hypertrophy app. And I'll be saying that a lot because it's the real deal. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time.